we have watched billionaires go into space and go to submarines and do all these extravagant things rather than do what they can with that money for human beings. So how as oblivious as billionaires tend to be when they see society suffering is as brilliant as oblivious society tends to be when they see billionaires suffering.
Big Boy's Neighborhood, beautiful day in the neighborhood, ladies and gentlemen.
Now that cowbell is a lie, baby.
Hey, man.
It's a lie.
Hey, that cowbell is hello. That's what I'm talking about. All right, now you know my anniversary was yesterday. You know what I'm saying? You always look good when you have microphone 1.
Yeah,
microphone 1. That's when you're the sexiest in the room. When I walk out of here, but in here, DL.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
It's the dude with the 2-shot.
Yeah, I'm everybody's fantasy in here. Believe that. But DL Hughley is back into the neighborhood. DL,
man.
welcome back to the neighborhood.
Thank you, baby. Appreciate it.
Man, it is our pleasure to have you back in the neighborhood, man. And I don't know where to start, but just briefly off air, we were talking about Trump.
Right.
Hey, man, and I don't know if we didn't really have you in during a lot of the Trump-isms. But I would, of course, you see you on social media, but.
You know, it's funny. This dude he had 71 felonies and counting. And a rape case. Yeah. That ain't an ex-president. That's a rapper.
Yeah. No, that's even worse. Don't put it on the genre.
Like, I'm like, damn your inauguration. When's your album drop?
Hey, man, it's crazy when people say Teflon Don.
But here's the thing. That's really actually not. He's lost a lot in court.
Right.
He just hasn't lost in the court of public opinion. He's lost a lot in court. Right. He just got found liable for sexual battery. But the thing that's interesting, he's done everything they hate about black people, but they still love him. He got kids by multiple women, lie all the time, refused to leave public housing when he got evicted.
Exactly.
and stole shit from work his last day.
Amen. Yeah, possession, stolen property.
Yeah.
My man, he had the files in the bathroom.
Yeah. But it makes sense that he would have he should have the nuclear codes and military secrets in the bathroom. He done shit all over the Constitution. Right? He needs something.
Hey, man, we didn't get a chance to really talk about it, bro. But when Donald Trump was running the first time, did you think that he was going to get in?
I thought that when I saw the fervor because it's set up for him to win. Like literally, it's not like a class election where you got to win the majority. He can win in a couple of these places because of the Electoral College and win. Right. And he didn't really need to. Even Joe Biden won by 7 million votes. He only won by 50,000 in the Electoral College, which is weird because they're the least educated segment of our society. So we should call it the educational trade school, or the educational junior college. But so it isn't that hard to believe that there are people. And the thing about this is what I say: white people should never have curtains or anything. You got to see them, because once they get behind a voting booth or in a ballot box, I don't think white people, they should have blinds. Right. We should be able to see them, everything
just crack
they do.
It open, like, nah, man.
Because whatever they get to do in secret is never good for us.
But have you noticed now it don't even have to be in secret?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about there are people who are doing things that you would never.
You're like, I love you, man.
Right.
Black motherfucker.
Right. I don't think they should be on that. We should see them all through Lycra. It should all be. But it doesn't surprise me when America's.
Right.
It don't surprise me when white folk white. It don't because ultimately,
I can't believe this.
No, I can't. I can believe. Ultimately, their fathers and forefathers did horrible things so they could have this advantage, and they'd be damned if they're going to let you take it away. And he was like, when he says stuff that's just patently untrue, I created more jobs. Now, whenever black people who supported Trump, well, he gave us jobs. Nigga, slaves did that.
Right.
The unemployment rate during slavery was 0. So that's what we here for.
What goggles you look at.
He let us work. Everybody let us work. That's what we here for. We didn't get a break till the Mexicans came. Are you crazy?
Oh, man. And you see it around the country, though. Because
everywhere.
there's certain places here where, we're hidden. We're shielded from so-called a lot.
Only
instead of certain areas.
Only because I live here and I live in New York, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so I have places here and places in New York. Everywhere, but you think of the larger metropolitan areas, which are really the most diverse areas of our country, and really where all the money's made. Mm-hmm. Like all the money's made but they don't necessarily like that they don't have power. So, but everywhere metropolitan people live, it's diverse. People that have interactions. When they grow stuff, and this land, a lot of land, generally they have a different mentality. And I think that people who live in metropolitan areas don't oftentimes get to run across him. I mean, you know, you see them at a gas station when you're driving across the country or something like that. But generally, you don't.
Or when you want a picture in a Waffle House.
Yeah.
How
come he ain't got no teeth? What's the hell that about?
Yeah. This is my cousin's wife right here.
Yeah, man. Come on, man.
And when you hit like certain spots like the Alabama, the Mississippi, because you stay on the road.
Yeah.
You see a lot.
It's really, when people say things, like you'll hear everybody say, well, you know, the Democrats, look what they're doing to these. You explain Chicago. If you explain the entire southern region of the United States of America to me, and they've been under Republican rule for decades, I'll explain Chicago to you. They'll take this one thing.
Yeah,
the thing
I've heard that.
The thing that doesn't happen is the more diverse you are, the more expansive your views are, the more interactions you have to have with people. In general, you'll come to a consensus. Like when you have, like this is a very diverse group of people, right?
Right.
So, but if you are one person and everybody is like you, then the experiences are narrow and more myopic, evocative. You don't include anybody else. And America's never really had to. Like, you got to remember, affirmative action, the Supreme Court struck it down today. Slavery lasted 400 years. Jim Crow lasted 100. Affirmative action lasted 58 years. That shit ain't old enough for Social Security.
Yeah.
Like, it can't get
Real
the
talk.
Happy Meal. It can't get the early bird special at Golden Corral.
Yeah, man. No blue light, no blue plate.
That's enough.
Yeah.
So I think 500 years of working to disenfranchise and to brutalize and to governmentation to do things, and then 58 years to rectify the said situation. So the math ain't mathing. You dig what I'm saying? And then, so it's indicative of who we are, what we are as a society. Diversity is a good thing. Companies appreciate it. It leads to more fruitful, more profitable endeavors. But there are people in the country who just hate diversity, and they're the people who want to run it, and they're going to.
Hey, when we look at through the windshield of what's coming up in 2024, do you feel like? Do you not even faith? Because I'm in a position now in DL where I just say, you know what, I gotta raise my family. Man, I gotta be me. Whoever get in, they gonna get in.
But see, that's the attitude I don't have, because I gotta raise my family.
Right.
Because I gotta raise my family.
I hear you. So
you know what it
have
is?
to pay attention to.
I think that our problem is that we have become so insulated. I gotta raise a family. I got a granddaughter, right? The Supreme Court just ruled that she doesn't have autonomy of her own body. Right. I got children that got to go to school. The Supreme Court ruled that we're going to take this factor, not the whole factor, but a mitigating factor in deciding how they can live that. Because if you can't, first off, they defund education in public schools, right? So we have a shitty education. Then you go to a state school, you go to an HBCU, you get a great education, but when you go to get hired, they look at where you went to school.
Right.
Right? Then you want to sit on the Supreme Court or a federal court. Then they look at where you worked, where you went to school. So the things that they have to do, I've already run my race. So somebody said that a great man is a man who plants trees of the shade of which he'll never know. Like I can't just be about my family, because if it's just about my family, that's what America is now.
Right. And by that I meant, like,
no,
I still vote. Yeah, but I just wanted, because you got the comments and everything.
Yeah.
By that I meant, like, man, like, I vote. Not just presidential. I vote. See,
Me too.
I'm in, and people say, "Oh, I'm like, man. Well, if you don't vote, somebody gonna vote for you."
Right. So, when you don't vote, you do it.
You trust that, and then that's when we wake up and we like, "Oh man, how did this get past?"
When people say, "How did it get like this?" 70% of Americans want women to have autonomy of their own body.
Right.
30% of Americans don't. And that 30% is winning. 65% of Americans believe that affirmative action shouldn't be banned by the Constitution. By the Supreme Court. It has been. So we're not. The majority is being ruled, not governed by the the thing that's funny about abortion is they overturned Roe versus Wade. They want to go after gay marriage, contraception, and sodomy. Sodomy, what the fuck does a West celebrating anniversary got to do with any of this, right? Like, I don't know. If you and we're comfortable. If you live in a red state, you can't even talk dirty no more. Whose is this? It's the state legislature right now.
Right,
you better get it for
whose is this? Yeah.
So all the things that we are now getting comfortable with happened because people went, it don't make a difference. But there's some things that wouldn't have happened had things gone a different way, and they have. And so if you think that it doesn't make a difference who's in office, then you could tell the difference by the way COVID, a lot of people died that didn't have to. A lot of businesses closed that didn't have to. That was inept leadership. That's what that is. When a dude is the leader of the country, tells you that bleach can kill a virus, you know you're in trouble.
Oh, he was just being sarcastic.
No, but
he was right.
See, so you can't tell me it doesn't matter.
Right.
I'm not even talking about what side of the aisle you're on. Being a competent human being. But the presidency of the United States is the only thing where experience hurts you. You would never go to a surgeon and go, man, he ain't got no experience. I don't want nobody that's been around other doctors and who study. I want this nigga right here.
Yeah. Hey, man, I've said that many a times. Be like, yeah, you don't want the dentist.
Right.
Oh,
And no one ever counts on things like that happen. Imagine the things that wouldn't have happened had we had a competent person in charge.
Do you get people that's mad at you?
All the time.
Right.
Fuck them.
Right.
Like literally.
Right.
Like all the time. Because I'm not, my only gig is to tell you like I see it. You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to like it. You don't have to listen.
Right.
But the only thing I'm the arbiter of is how I see things. I'm not in charge of how anybody perceives them or receives them. It's not.
How
none
do
of my
people
business.
get a hold of you though? Because you have an
You
audience.
seem to do pretty good.
No, I'm talking about how do people like say for instance somebody dislike or want to go against. Like, are they're not buying a ticket to the show?
Sometimes.
Oh, really?
Sometimes. Or sometimes, I've been places people say things. Hey, man, I'm not afraid to have an opinion that people don't disagree with. I'm not at all. Right. I mean, that doesn't. What are they gonna do? Not buy a ticket, cancel me, call me? Not. I'm a grown man. So, right. But I do think that the only thing I own is my perspective, and I think that that's unassailable. I'm not gonna let you tell me what to think or why I should think it. That's none of your business, and it's none of. This is the most expensive real estate in the world is what's between your ears and what's in your chest. That's the only thing you own, and so everything else is just white noise to me.
What do you feel about the whole cancel culture thing, bro?
I think that the thing that I'm upset about is how they took woke and conflated it with everything else.
Oh my God, man!
Like woke. I'm like, it was our way of expressing the systemic things that have happened to us. Now woke means everything white people don't like.
Yeah. Oh,
how did my woke become like? How did my woke go to Kid Rock shooting up Budweiser? Like, ain't got nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
It was or Disneyland. And the thing I hate about these woke companies, none of them spoke out for Black Lives Matter or what's happening to immigrants in America. They spoke out for transgender, the LGBTQ community. Now that's fine, but you were silent when things happened to us. Nobody drinks more Budweiser than black people and brown people, but you're silent when things happen to them. So you'll speak for one community and not from all, and they call that woke. Woke isn't helping the LGBTQ community. Just specifically, it's about everything, making everything fairer for everyone. But they chose to put their lot in with one specific group of people. Like, when I saw white people hating Budweiser, I was like, man, I hope Cavassier don't mess up.
Yeah. we really have to.
It's just so, but everything they don't like, they call woke.
Yeah, man.
How the hell does somebody transitioning to another sex have anything to do with the systemic thing that happened to black and brown people in this country? How does that have anything to do with it? But they conflate the two, and they get to it's people running for office that are their sole purpose is to kill woke.
Right.
It's to stop. How does me not learning my history have anything to do with your inflation, gas prices, how you live your life, jobs? But that's a victory when you can in Texas, right? Texas passed a law where you don't have to give people water every 4 hours. The average migrant worker in America lives 49 years because they work in the heat, they have all these pesticides, live in bad conditions, and you're passing a law that says you don't have to give them water every 4 hours after record-breaking heat. That's not governance. That's evil. Mm-hmm. And there are people who will respond to that. They'll go, well, he's doing what I want him to be doing, so I don't really care. How can you watch another human go through a thing and think that the way that you make this country better is by demeaning and degrading people? And there are people who sit back and go, they're all the same. They're not. They're not all the same. I'm not saying everybody's perfect. There's some people, I've never seen anybody whose sole goal was to demean people. And that be the objective. Look, I don't care if you and I have different philosophical vantage points. I care that we're all treated humanely. And I think that in this society right now, there are people who think that is a bargaining chip, and there are people who just is unassailable. To me, that's one thing I won't vacillate on. I believe this to be true. If you don't, I can't really fuck with you. I can't.
Hey man, I remember back in the days, DL, and I was gonna have it for you today. You would always have a newspaper.
Always.
You always
now I still do it just on the phone.
Yeah. But had you always been so-called this conscious, or always had your hand or your thoughts in?
I'd always thought things were interesting, but I didn't necessarily, like, I wasn't a good reader. Like, I got kicked out of school and stuff like that, and come to find, like, when I would read, the words would bunch up. So I have to try to
Is it
read
dyslexia or
I don't
no?
know what it was.
Okay,
but,
right.
But they would seemingly bunch up and fall off the page, and so I would get so uncomfortable that I tried to read everything before it did. You know what I mean?
Wow, yeah.
So that's why I talk so fast now. Like I'm trying to read it and remember it before it falls. Like before.
What did that do for like your TV shows? And
I had to write them.
Wow.
I had to write them. Like anytime you see me doing anything, is I have to write it. It has to come from, like, I've written 7 books and I have to write them because I can't. I'm a great reader now because I don't have the pressure of having to do it on demand in front of people, and there's no peer pressure and stuff like that. So I get to take my time now. If I hear a word, if I see a word, I will read it over and over again until I understand what it means, and then I can't wait to use it in a sentence.
Yeah,
I'd be like, and then I sound smart. I'd be like,
hey,
alacrity, nigga.
Hey man, you been hitting us with something that I was just like. That's what you see, Jose over here. He googling your words. Then afterwards, when we get out of here, I'm be like, man, what does that mean? All right.
Yeah. So I didn't. So but I've always been aware. I always thought that the trade-off was that I would say something in a way that would let people off the hook. They laugh or they think, but that I would get something out of it too, and that it would be reflective of what I saw. So I'm not. I don't have to look for things. I just see things, and they strike me as ironic, and I just say them.
When you were doing, and aside from writing the books and writing the TV shows, like I just rewatched about a week ago when you were on the Def Comedy Jam.
Yeah.
That but you and Dave, y'all had teleprompters.
Right.
Is that a situation for you?
You saw me say, man, I can't read this
shit.
Yeah. Even though, I can't read teleprompters.
Really though?
Good at it.
That's
I can read them, obviously.
Yeah.
But
you
if
can
you
read.
say, hey, nigga, you got 30 seconds to
Right.
read this.
Like,
or when we got to do live reads, I got to do it. I got to shoot it. I got to tape everything before.
Oh, so you just know that.
I just have to. I can't read under pressure on demand.
I heard that. Hey,
I mean, I can obviously read. I'm not
right. Yeah.
illiterate, but if you tell me to read words I haven't seen before, like when I was hosting the Daily Show, nigga, you better cut all these words out and tell me.
Right,
tell me what the point is.
I'm gonna be there.
I'm gonna say what I can remember.
I'm gonna be there at 5:30 in the morning. So have my stuff together. Hey man, has comedy changed in the last 5 years, 10 years?
Only the way society's changed.
Right.
And society is reflective of comedy, music, art. I think that there are people who pretend to be experts on things they shouldn't pretend to be experts on. Like everybody can tell you what's good music, or everybody can tell you what's good food. Everybody on social media is a fucking trainer, a cook,
man,
or an artist.
Yeah,
like
or
nigga, where the regular people
speakers.
at? I mean, come on now. Yeah.
You know, financial advisors.
Right. Everybody. So
I love when they send me stuff that they can like give me more followers, and I look at theirs, and I'm like, you need to do this. Right. Like, you got 17 followers?
Right.
And you gonna help me get millions?
Right.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's all these people who are now expert at everything. Everybody's either, what is it, a rapper, a singer, a motivational cook, a cook, a bad bitch, and like where the regular people at?
Yeah. I always say, man, if everybody gonna be in the business and everybody on stage, who gonna be in the audience?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, who the hell gonna be in the audience, man? Do you look back at any of your old material and say, man, I can't get away with that now?
I don't think there's anything I can't get away with.
Oh, really?
No.
So you don't have like the whole, because even when I do radio, DL, I have a different mental editor. My phone taps, I got more phone taps that I don't play than I actually play from my library.
But obviously you have you work your corporate interests. So you have so I'm in radio just like you in radio. So there are things what we do is do the show, and then Skip Cheatham, who's my producer, he go, this nigga just not getting in. Now, I said it. He just ain't gonna let that happen. No, so but in terms of stage,
oh yeah,
nah, man, I'm gonna
the stage is all you.
Yeah, it's gonna be fine. And I think that is a freedom that people. The goal in society isn't for us to all think alike, act alike, and believe alike. It's for us to have a certain modicum of respect for differences. That's it. I don't got to believe like you do, or like what you like, or come from where you come from. But I got to respect that you have a different vantage point. That's all it is. So what society?
Some people don't even respect that.
That's the point. So political correctness is all trying to pretend like we all believe the same thing, and we don't.
Mm-hmm.
There are things out there, deeply held beliefs. I don't believe a man who was born a man should be able to athletically compete against a woman. I don't. I'll never believe that. I don't care.
Right.
I don't believe that. But I believe that man or woman who transitioned should be treated any differently.
Right.
But I think you can't tell me that it's fair for someone who was born in the
MMA fighter?
Yeah, the MMA fighter, the track athlete.
Yeah.
So
the swimmer.
The
swimmer was like in 400
555th number one in the world. Now, so what they do is conflate everything. There's a difference between me being respectful of somebody else's opinion and then saying that should permeate every aspect of society. I don't think I should have to believe what you believe, or that society should cater to everybody. I believe that in the aggregate, the society only works in generalities. Most people believe this thing. Most people do this. Like everything you have is a decision by society to say this will be beneficial to most people. There are going to be some people who are going to be adversely affected by it. This argument is that we should all feel the same way. And if that was going to work, it should be other people, I think, that are in the position where society caters to them.
Do you know comedians that they're scared of today's audience?
Yeah.
I
don't think they're scared. I think most people want to be liked in any endeavor.
Right. Gotcha.
They don't want to be disliked.
Right.
And so I think more than anything, because what really happens to anybody? The last time you saw somebody really get canceled, what happened?
Right.
Like, I mean.
He came back and got his $1 billion.
So what happened? I mean, so but just the idea that people say bad things about you or they say mean things about you, that don't, I'm 59. What the fuck you going to say about me? I don't say about myself or know about me. So I don't, there is no, I would never say anything I didn't believe and wasn't going to stand by anyway. And if I believe it, I'm not going to let you tell me I don't.
And we see now where with social media, not that people could just cut the line and cut corners, but you could do, you could do something that can go viral, so on and so, and you can get in to any field a little faster now, But also, do you feel like you wouldn't want to be a part of making it today?
I think that everybody who's going through anything looks back or forward and decides this is, I mean, some people who were doing just radio before there was TV, and some people doing movies. So everybody looks backward or forward. I think that society is disingenuous. I think society pretends to be a way that it patently is not, or things couldn't happen. And I attack that idea of being disingenuous. We're nothing like the society we cancel people for. If we were, the shit we do wouldn't happen.
Hey, man, I always say we're the toughest and the weakest at the same time.
I think
we could take anything. Yep. If there's somebody say something, we're like, oh.
If we were so tough, we wouldn't be addicted to painkillers. If we were so tough, we wouldn't have sugar on everything. We are a nation that's addicted. We hate pain, and we hate things that are good for us that we just won't do. Like everything got sugar in it to make it taste better.
Right.
Everything. Painkillers. America's the most addicted nation in the world to painkillers because we can't even take pain. Emotional pain, physical pain. And we come from a nation that was born from that. You know what I mean? Segments of this society. So when you know that are the parameters you have to live within or to function within, it really is kind of like you take the red pill and you see what happens.
Hey, man, when we saw Dave Chappelle getting tackled, you know what I'm saying? On stage, Hollywood Bowl.
Right.
And even right after the Will Smith and Chris Rock slap, right? It seemed like I started to see more people that felt like they had a license.
They did.
To say or do certain things.
I think that now you get to the idea, and there were people, when Will slapped Chris, there were people who went, that's what he get. Right. Well, my idea is, so we can't live in a society where everybody gets to act out that way because everybody be in jail.
Right.
But you're telling me, and you don't got to be there. If somebody's doing something I don't like, or I don't feel like I'm going that's going to personally affect me in a negative way, I ain't going to be there. But the Oscars, people have been going there and being talked about for 70 years.
Right.
All of a sudden, this is the one. And then there are people who thought that was okay. I don't think that what happened there was okay. I think that you have a choice about where you decide to be, and that choice shouldn't be, I'm trying to make everybody else feel like I feel. And if I don't get to hear it, nobody else shouldn't get to hear it. So the fact that so many people tried to justify, I thought what Chris Rock did was brilliant.
Right.
And I thought with people trying to cancel him because he shouldn't have been doing. Hey man, some things are just jokes, some things are not.
And when you say brilliant the way he held the show together, or brilliant how he sat back.
I thought the only thing I had a problem with was that he did it live, and I think that apparatus was useless. I don't think that helped or was an advantage at all. Because I think if he'd have shot 2 or 3 shows, he'd have got it perfect. He'd have edited like everybody else does.
Right.
We wouldn't have half the things we have.
Right.
But I thought in terms of his view of what happened to him, his jokes, the outlook, and the exact reaction he got, I thought was brilliant.
What made you upset about that?
I think that I thought that was a bully.
Mm.
I think it was a case of 2 men who had been traumatized. Chris Rock had been bullied his whole life, and so it will. And it made me sad that 2 black men had their trauma visit him at the same time. But I do think that was one dude got the shit slapped out of him, and the biggest stars in society come from the dude who did the slapping. That was funny to me.
Right.
Like
we had
like Denzel and Tyler Perry hugging Ike. I'm like, wow, he just
Hey man, we had Tony Rock on there in the neighborhood, and Tony was like, and he named him by name. I saw such go over there.
Yeah.
And,
nobody said anything
my
to
brother.
do with the guy.
Yeah.
And can you imagine that dude had been getting treated that way his whole life?
Mm-hmm.
He only was funny. I mean, I'm sure elementally he's funny because he had just, when he was on Saturday Night Live, he got jumped and robbed and put in the hospital. So and I understand Will had gone through his thing. But when somebody manifests their pain in when that dude walked away, like no dude who respects or fears another man would ever turn his back to him like that. After he assaulted him?
Right.
Come on now.
Right.
That was emasculating. And
Right.
that people thought that was the way to do it was sickening to me.
Yeah, because I know, and I'm not heavy on comments and everything, but I would see people will say, "Oh, he took it too far." I'm like,
yeah,
man.
Well, don't watch. Here's the thing: I, as a person who is in this field, wanted to see what somebody who I respect do a thing, use his art to expound on his personal vantage point. I thought he did exactly that. And if you don't, we got remotes, we got blinds, we got windows. You don't have to hear or see anything you don't want to.
Right.
Why is it a fucking problem?
Yeah, I love when people go to pages and get offended by other people's pages.
Get the fuck
too.
off.
Yeah.
I'm like, why? I don't care what you think.
Can't believe you said that.
Right. So it's just funny to me. And in this group think where people gotta feel a certain way. When somebody said he was talking about black women, he talked about 3 women, black women. How's that all of them? Nobody got mad when he said glowing things about Beyonce.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So are we all or nothing? Like, why are you mad? How does one person get to be indignant? We're a nation that got 40 million people. How the fuck can one dude speak for a nation that got 40 million? We got Barack Obama and Flavor Flav. Who the fuck gonna get that?
Right. Yeah.
So I just, and the older you get, the more silly and trite things become. So you don't have to. It's just things I just stay away from.
Hey man, have you had any other conversations or been across any Kanye since y'all had?
No,
right.
I haven't.
Hey man,
I don't. Why would we need to? He said what he said, and I said what I said. I don't.
It's not like y'all in the same circles either.
No,
right.
I don't. But I feel how I felt,
right.
And I'm sure he feels how he feels.
I just trip off also, man, how people that don't know Kanye take it upon them to think they're going to say something to you as well.
Here's the thing. I said what I said, and I meant it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that what he said about, slavery and what he said about Rosa Parks is indicative of a man who has a disdain for black people. Mm-hmm. It's not just a dude who's been creative. I can understand all that. He has a disdain for black people. I draw the line at that. That's my line. It don't have to be yours. I thought that him, and I don't know Kim. Mm-hmm. I thought that a man stalking a woman because she won't be with him is dangerous. And if it were my daughter, I'd have done something about it. And I think it's wrong to do. That ain't got nothing to do with black, white, and different. It's wrong to do it. I think it's crazy. She scared that girl. It was scary. It's you know how scared you got to be to make Kardashian fuck a white man. You know how scary that is.
Did you say what?
This
to make a Kardashian
fuck a white man.
Yeah, go
this
back.
This nigga fucked up a stereotype. Once you go black, you never go back unless.
Yeah.
So there are things that are right, things that are wrong. I believe that I could. That's everybody has their own kind of moral line. It was funny when, like he said, I'm gonna send these people to. I'm gonna send my goons to. I'm like, if your goons can come jump on me, can't they stop by and get your prescription? They can't do that, right? On the way to whip my ass, can you drop by and get this nigga Xanax? You can't do that, right?
Yeah, I give him a fair one. Just have him stop.
Right. And I'm like, so, and it's all when people say shit. Well, his mama died. Do you know half the people that are homeless in this country had tragic shit happen to them, and you don't give a fuck about them? How many people do we watch drive by living? 60% of the homeless people in Los Angeles served in the military, saw such terrible shit that they can't even function in society no more. And the truth of the matter, you don't give a fuck about them, even though they went, because they don't make you feel good. Everybody gonna lose their mama and daddy. And you know what? That's the way life's supposed to work. You're blessed if you get a long life with your mother. It's unfortunate you don't. But the grand plan of life is that your parents take you so far, then they leave. Then you take your kids so far, then they leave. So all of us will have pain. But society won't make those allowances based on just being human. They will based on how brilliant they think we are, how worthy of our affection and attention they think we are. And I disagree. And I think that when you're blessed like that, you have an obligation, in my estimation, there don't have to be nobody else, to have some level of comity, not comedy, comity to people, some level of empathy for people. But you say mean, hateful, evil shit that emboldens people, and you think I'm just going to say that that's fine? I don't give a fuck how much great music you do. Nobody wrote a lyric that was so great that I could forget you're a shitty human being. That's my estimation.
DL, well said, bro. Man, DL, do you ever think that, had you ever got frustrated with comedy?
No.
No?
No.
You never thought like, man,
No.
I want to put the mic down?
No.
Right.
I have gotten frustrated with people's assessments of it, or the kind of things I think. I've got more frustrated. My frustration would be indicative of society than comedy, or this society than any endeavor. It's these people that have decided that they're going to pretend to be a thing without ever doing anything about it for real. That's but comedy, I love it, I respect it, and I respect anybody who does it.
Can you not wait? Do you ever feel sometimes like things just write itself?
Yeah.
Like, what do you think about that submarine, bro? That Titan submarine?
I think that I think that it made me sad that people felt that it was just folly, that people died. But I think that the reason people feel bad when shit happen to billionaires, because to be a billionaire, you generally are a pretty shitty person. Like, it's a reason the Bible says it's easier for a camel to pass through an eye of a needle than for a rich man to see the kingdom of heaven. I think it's because we have watched billionaires go into space and go to submarines and do all these extravagant things rather than do what they can with that money for human beings. So, how as oblivious as billionaires tend to be when they see society suffering, is as oblivious society tends to be when they see billionaires suffering. We're just as callous as you are, only you in a submarine and I'm in a food line. So people don't tend to take. I am sorry that they went that, but black people, we don't need to pay $250,000 to go 12,000 feet in a submarine to find the Titanic if we want to venture. We could just try to get a home appraisal.
Right. Yeah.
But as oblivious as billionaires have to be to society of suffering, the society suffering when they do all the things they do is as oblivious as society is when they suffer. They even there are a certain amount of people that don't give a fuck when people are suffering, and on the other side, there's a certain amount of people that don't give a fuck when people are suffering. It all starts with a lack of empathy. If you would rather fucking go down a submarine just to see a wreckage than make sure somebody gets a meal. 8 people in the world are richer than half the world. 8. You know how fucked up you got to be to know that? 8 people. That means half the world, 5 billion people could put their checks together and not be as rich as these 8 motherfuckers. And these motherfuckers are going to space and buying Twitter, and not even to make it better, but just to do what the fuck I want to do. It's obscene.
When you see that Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk may fight each other, what do you look at that?
I think that it's folly to me, but I'd like to see it.
Right.
I'd like to see it. Yeah. I'd like to see somebody who is that rich actually had to bleed for something. Like actually had to fight for something, actually put something on the line. I ain't talking about prestige or money. I'm talking about bleeding for something. All of us in this has bled. Literally, I'm talking about bled for something.
Yeah. I know.
I like to see it. I like to see how much that, because when you bleed for something, you know if you want it or not.
When you open up your whatever feed you have that comes social media, news, you have to open up your device and it's something totally different than the average person. Because
I don't think so.
No, because DL, you look at things totally different.
But I think
then other things is like, okay, I could present this on stage. Like your material got to start changing like this.
I think that it's not. I think that all of us look at things the way we're informed to. Where all we are is a reflection of our life's experiences and how we perceive them, right? So I look at my thing through my lens. You look at the same thing,
right?
But I think that I have a desire to make people uncomfortable,
right?
In general, I do. I don't think that that's
a
bad thing.
You know that?
I do.
Right.
I do know that. I like to see, but I think comfort is dangerous.
Have you ever been silenced?
I have been. Some things have made.
And the reason why I asked that is because I've even saw where you sat on panels, right? And you would make someone look so ridiculous that I'm like, they're not calling him back. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but the thing I just do not understand. If you look at everything from a human perspective, I think that there are things you have to be. There are things you have to kill in yourself to not be human. Now we do it all. There are things you have to, like whether it happens to a woman, a child, a black person, a white person. There are things I see and I go, wow, that's fucked up. I don't give a fuck. Like when this kid, one kid, Neely struck when Penny kills Neely on the train, the Marine. I'm on the New York train. Okay, the narrative is this veteran Marine. He was never called anything. He's always called a Marine, and this is always called a homeless person. But the thing that insulted me the most is how they co-opted the mantle of Good Samaritan. Now, Good Samaritan came upon a stranger. He got off his ass. He bound his wounds. He gave him oil. He took him to an inn. He gave him money to make sure he was okay. How the fuck you get choking a nigga to death the same as a Good Samaritan? How is that the same? And the society will keep parroting that idea back. A Good Samaritan came upon a stranger and did what he could to help him. You choked one to death. So now what you think of that or what you would call that is subjective. The fact that you use something that was perfectly empathic and sympathetic and perverted into the same thing is what makes me sick. And you could think he deserved it. You could think the last thing that motherfucker was that day was a Good Samaritan.
Right.
You could say he was. Don't tell me he was. And they call him that to make society see him a certain way. And that to me that frustrates me about society. So we all saw the same thing.
Right.
We just saw different. Elementally, we saw different things.
Right. Do you ever feel like this is happening again?
No.
You know, it just seemed like at one point, man, it was so many. I was like, again?
The only difference between us now and technology, like the only thing that shocked me was how fast they indicted those cops in Memphis. And we know why. But they indicted them so fast, we didn't have time to riot. I had to pour the gas back in my lawnmower. I was like, what the fuck? But we know why.
Yeah. And why?
Because I think that it's two things. Society said, oh, those are 3 black police officers killing another black man. We get to look like we're being this autonomous thing and going, we're but they did it because it was easy and convenient to do. I think the things that are easiest to do, you do. So the society, we were going to want a certain affect. They wanted to deliver one, and they go, this is
it.
Yeah. But we always look for symbols. We don't ever look for change. Like whenever something happens, we live in Los Angeles. They have systemically the most dangerous, deadly police department in the nation for decades. They don't change their practices. They hire and they fire motherfuckers. They go, this rookie dude raped dead bodies, so he got to go. We've had gangs functioning in the sheriff's department for decades, and they predicates they got to kill a young Mexican kid or a black kid, and they still exist. So stop. So when you fire a dude, it's not about changing the thing. It's about looking like you did.
We got to protect you. You get pulled over like, DL here. Oh, DL here, man. I got DL pulled over. Hell yeah, that's why when I see you driving, where you seatbelt, hands like this, you're like, man, not at all.
I don't think that they're that hard. I just don't. I don't think it's that hard. I think it's harder to be a shitty person than it is to be a decent.
Some people do it so well, though.
They do it well, man.
Yeah.
And they get. I'm like, wow, nigga, you just think that was. Like, when Megan got shot and everybody, well, we don't know what she did. Well, he was fucking her. Like, half the women that get shot and killed in America get shot and killed by somebody who said they loved them. And I think there's a reason that it's gotten easier and easier to get a gun. And I think it's an implied threat. I do. I think at a time when gun crimes are rising, at a time when we're more and more violent, we throw that element to. I think it's to say, get in line or you can get shot. I don't think that's an accident. I don't think when I watch society do things like that, and they make sides. Well, he was fucking her. Half the women in this country who get killed will get killed by somebody who said they loved them or fucked them. How do I know that and think that's okay?
Right.
And how do I comedically go, I'm gonna not say anything about that because that makes you fuck them? If you think that that's the way your mind works, I think it's insane. I think it's insane to watch these things happen. Have a vantage point or an apparatus to expound that vantage point, and don't.
Do you think people are afraid of your intelligence?
No, I don't think I'm all that intelligent.
No.
I don't know.
Well, damn, that was a slap in the face to everybody in this room.
Yeah.
I don't. I think that people are so devoid of intelligence that even this seems intelligent to me.
Isn't it easier to not care about it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's less stressful to not care about it.
So why do you?
Because somebody got to.
Yeah.
Literally, like if we all were like that, somebody got to. If I grew up here, there's a lot of shit that I didn't like, a lot of things I felt powerless about. But if you're blessed to see and do what we've done, the price got to be something.
Right. Right.
Can't be nothing. And I think that it's what I believe I was like, people feel like they're ordained or people feel like I believe I'm put here to say what I see. Specifically. Nothing else. Now, whatever happens, I can't, I'm not the arbiter of that, but I believe I was put here to say what I see.
Do you ever look back at any of like the early comedy from you? And do you look, it's like, man, do you feel like you used your voice the right way or you used it at that time?
I feel like I used it, I can't be mad at what I was.
Right.
Like people, I didn't think he was funny in Kings of Comedy. I'm 30, that's 30 years ago. I'm not doing anything like that. I'm not what I was. And I'm not afraid to be what I'm going to be. I think that when I hear people make all these remixes on this 2 or that 3, they're scared to be what they are. We're going to make all these remixes. We're going to do this album, this 3, this 4, this again. Yeah. I'm like, nigga, I love the Kings of Comedy. I thought it was spectacular. Right. And I go back and when every once in a while somebody will ask me something, I have fond memories of it. It's not where I live.
Right. Can you watch and enjoy Kings of Comedy still?
I've never watched it.
Wow.
No. But I've never watched many things I've done.
Right. So you just kind of do what you do and then you move. You move on.
Right.
I heard that. What's the so-called next thing, man? Because I know you stay active. We've been trying to sit down for the longest, and I know you stay active.
I love what I do. I love doing radio. I love writing books. I'm writing a book called Charlie's Boy: An Ode to a Black Father, and it's about all the things. Like I have better conversations with my dad now that he's dead than I did when he was alive.
I just had one last year that was amazing.
Right, I'm like, this nigga listens. Oh wait, he's not.
Yeah.
But I think that there's a notion of what we had, the idea of this idealized notion of what fathers are and what they look like now. And it's going to be my perception of my father, my children's perception of me.
Wow.
So it's. I remember when I was growing up, I was Charlie's boy. They would go, that's Charlie's boy right there. And it never felt insulting to me. It felt like,
right.
They didn't call my brother Charlie's boy.
Right.
Because I was his boy. Like I was. So and he would always call me boy. And I never had the negative content. Like I would see Good Times and they go, boy is away. And I never thought of that. I never thought that. So it's it is everything I am because I want to embody some of the things he was. Like my father didn't leave me anything but a work ethic.
Wow.
Nothing. No. I didn't get no family crest. My family crest is fucking work clothes. But he was the dopest.
But he left you that.
He did.
See, my dad just left.
My real dad left.
Okay. I
was one of them everywhere.
Man, I sure wish I knew Charlie.
Yeah. Me too. I wish I did too.
Right.
Like when he was done, when I heard people talk about his funeral, I was like, nigga, I don't know. Who is this nigga?
Right, yeah.
Right.
When you hear the good stuff, like the talk, like.
He laughed. My father used to laugh. He laughed 5 times that I remember. 5 times that I remember as a kid. Laughed. Well, we heard him outside, and instinctively, I gotta go see what this nigga's laughing at.
Right.
He never laughed. And the thing that's funny to me, when I watch men of that energy, they never laughed and they never smile. Like you see them in pictures.
Right, yeah.
Never smile.
Stone face.
All like I'm telling you, go back. Smiling is a 90s thing. It ain't no
right, yeah.
Yeah. They never laughed, they never smiled. They were always they were bent down or looking. They always, and that was interesting to me. And I the reason is they never really felt like they had a reason to.
How did you find comedy? Like, if there was was there laughter in your household?
No.
Wow.
No, niggas didn't. No, it was. I mean, I watch people laugh.
Right.
But I was more interested in what. Like when my father was laughing, it was always something irreverent. It was like All in the Family, or it was always MASH. Like it was this dude on MASH called Spear Chucker Jones. I'm not even making
Get away with that now.
No, man, it was so hilarious to me that my father had a high school education, joined the Army and the Navy, but even he got how sophisticated those jokes were. And I thought that was, I was like, wow, this dude is laughing at things that I don't think he's supposed to be laughing at, or that they would think black people would laugh at. And he laughed so, like tears would be coming out of his eye. So maybe part of that, but the real thing is I wasn't smart, I wasn't a hustler, I wasn't a gangster, but I could make people laugh. And so I always,
When did you know you were funny?
I never think about that concept. No. I know that I'm clear. People always think that's an arrogance to believe that you know what people are going to like. I know what I like. I know that what I'm clear about. I know what I tried to deliver. I don't know how you're gonna receive it. So I don't think about am I funny or not. That's never people. I still get to do what I do. People still come. So I guess I'm having some level of effect,
right.
It's not all that important.
Do you still enjoy the laughter?
I don't hear it.
You don't hear it?
No, because I think when you anticipate laughter, you write toward it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, if I do this here, this is.
And you're waiting on it.
Right. Like people always like one thing they'll say is you never wait because nigga I'm here to get finished.
Yeah, you talking about like the rollover laugh?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Because there's times, DL,
I don't. Yeah.
When I will watch you, and it's like you gotta like, you done moved on, or you're constantly throwing.
Yeah.
Constantly throwing.
It's arrogant. It's arrogant to believe you know what people want. I know what I believe.
Do you write different now?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I'm a grandfather now. My daughter, I've had things happen with my children. I've had things happen with my wife. I see the world differently. But it comes from, it's like the meal at Taco Bell. It's all the same shit folded a different way. I mean, the same burrito, enchilada, taco, chalupa, all the same shit.
It's all from this meat.
right.
And this tortilla.
Right. That's it. It's all the same shit folded different.
Man, do you, and when I say about the laughter, man, people come out to see you.
Right.
And we're in a society, and especially nowadays, man, everybody's fickle. You know, some people, they love you in the morning, hate you at night.
That's my wife too. So
right. Oh, so you used to it.
Yeah. It's
like, man, I went to the airport from this. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I live with this.
Right.
Do your wife think you're funny?
I think some of the things, my wife is scared a lot.
I was gonna
ask.
Like
when the only thing that when Kanye put my address out there, it scared her. She wouldn't come home.
Really?
That's what I disliked about it.
It scared me too because I live near you. Definitely didn't scare me.
That's so stuff like that.
Right.
I don't like that things I say she and my children hear. Mm-hmm. I don't like that, but fuck it.
They love catching you on TMZ too.
Man,
you getting off the airplane
man.
DL,
right,
tell us about, and it'd be the crazy. Tell us about Suge Knight.
Man. And I'm like, who tells these motherfuckers I'm coming?
I do.
and I get into fights with people and I have no idea what the fuck it came from. None at all. Like, how did this? And I'm like, wow.
Do you ever see somebody coming like, oh, here they come?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I can tell this not
most
gonna be good.
times.
Right.
Yeah. Most times. because then you so all I know is at the end of the day, I feel like I've said and done what I believe, and if that's my assessment of it, then that's what I'm cool with it.
One last thing on just the political side, because I love when you speak politics as well, man. Is Joe Biden too old for a second
Here's
term?
the thing that's funny to me, and this is, you know that there are 13.1 million jobs created in the United States of America in 2 years, right? 13.1. Most, when people say, "Oh, Trump, he did more for the economy," not true. He had the 7th largest economy, and Jimmy Carter had a larger economy than. So you'll say things. Everybody talks about inflation. Inflation in the United States of America is lower than any of the other G7. He passed legislation that no one's ever passed in 2 years. So when you say to me, "Is he old?" then I asked you because what you want. But this level of efficacy, you've never seen. Right. No one's ever seen people pass legislation on guns, on climate, even right now, manufacturing, construction. This is not me. You can Google it right now. It's up, I think, 30, 40, 50%. So he bought manufacturing back. These transportation bills, builders are hiring people, and infrastructure is being built. That's governance. Why is inflation, which was a global problem, lower in the United States of America? Why? It's got to be governance. When you talk about what he hasn't done or done for black people, there are more black women and people who was appointed to the federal judiciary than any time combined in America's history. And judges make it happen. There are more people who are reflective of different experiences. So when I say what I say, it's from an information perspective. I believe what I believe. I don't believe that sitting on the sideline is the answer. And I'm going to make the most viable, the most informed decision I can make. But if you tell me he's too old, I'll ask you, George Bush was a young man. What the fuck happened?
Right.
Donald Trump was 3 years younger. What the fuck happened? So if all the dudes who are winning championships these days are old ass coaches.
Right. I hear you.
So is what I want, and more than him being old, if you're asking us, why is the leader of the Senate older than him? Why are there men in the Supreme? Why, if age is a predicate, then why do you let Supreme Court justices who are going to make decisions that carry? Why don't you not care how old they are?
Right.
So if he has an 8-year term, you let them stay on the bench till they die. So if age is the predicate, make it that way everywhere.
DL, man, you're not running though.
Never.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Never.
Yeah, I ain't even walking. Yeah, I'm not even walking. So are you out this weekend as well?
I am. I'm going to be in Indianapolis.
Jesus Christ. What is your frequent flyer miles?
Man, I showed you. I have 5 million on American, 3 million on Delta, and 2 million on United.
You probably in
and
the air
6
more
on Southwest.
Right, yeah. You probably in the air more than on the ground.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, DL, you fly a lot.
I do.
Do you ever is that why sometimes you just want to get in your car and drive?
I think I fly a lot, and I have my big Akita with me, my dog. He flies with me everywhere. And my
Are you flying more private now?
Sometimes.
Because you're bringing a dog.
No, he comes
Hey,
everywhere.
man, your dog live better than a lot of us.
He does. That makes me sad. That makes me sad.
Well, the dog ain't apologizing.
No, he ain't.
Yeah.
Like, nigga, if you don't give me some of that steak.
Right. He got his own rider contract.
Yeah.
But, you going to the club? All right.
But it does make me sad that people have more affinity. Like, I think if you love dogs more than you love people, you're fucked up. I do. I think it just says something about you if you can't.
Because you see people like, oh, look, and then they're like, get the hell away from me.
Like the thing is, so when everybody talks about Hunter Biden, this whole Hunter Biden joke, to say that a person is bad or is a bad human because his son or daughter became a drug addict or a convict or anything you don't necessarily like, is something no parent or nobody who's ever. But I think you can't love a flawed country unless you can love a flawed human being. You can't love a nation, which is an idea, unless you can love a human being, which is the physical manifestation. You can't tell me you love America and you can't love a crackhead. You can't tell me you love America and you love God. So when you saw Joe Biden and his son, he didn't ever say my son It's being railroaded because he's my son. He didn't say this is a witch hunt. He didn't.
Right.
He didn't try to replace people. He knew he had to be the father of a nation and the father of a man. And I think you can't love a nation until you can love people. And there's very few examples of people in governance actually loving people.
There it is, man. D.L. Hughley in the neighborhood, bro. Thank you so much for coming into the neighborhood, brother.
Always.
It is a pleasure to have you in here. You know I was about to just come to your house with a microphone.
I said, let me go get this nigga here.
Hey, man, you should see my DL. Need you back in, DL.
He went, man, where you at? Man, come on now. What'd it take? I was
Yeah.
like, come on. You know I would.
Hey, man, I saw him in the mall. I was about to jump from the second floor. like wing on him. Anything before we wrap up, Natalia?
No, I think
all righty.
yeah.
DL Hughley in the neighborhood, Big Boy's neighborhood.